Hey guys, it's me. I know it's weird you're hearing my voice right now and not the theme music. Here's the deal. I kind of goofed when I originally uploaded this episode, and there was a tail on one of the audio clips that I forgot to cut off, and which resulted in about 10 minutes of silence at the end of the episode. So I fixed it, re-uploaded it, or tried to replace the file on my podcast hosting service, and it's been causing a lot of problems in certain people's podcasting apps. So this is the Mother's Day Momtacular Volume 1, and if you've already listened to this episode, you can just skip right on by. Just cruise on right on by. Go on to the next podcast. I don't know if you guys have been listening to Conan O'Brien's podcast is infuriatingly good. It's so good. So you can listen to that. Last Podcast on the Left is one of my favorites. You can try that if you're looking for something new. Invisibilia, they did a great episode on empathy a couple weeks ago and made some fascinating points about empathy and the problematic nature of empathy. I thought it was really interesting. So you could listen to that. This American Life had a great episode on Alex Jones. Did a little deep dive into Alex Jones's backstory. And it's pretty fascinating. And there's all sorts of other podcasts you can listen to if you've already listened to this one. So cool. Let's get to the regularly scheduled program. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to Sad Dad. My name's Dave Abkary, and I am a comedian out of Fresno, California, and this is a podcast where I sit down with my fellow funny friends, my fellow comedians, and we talk about dads. Hi, how are ya? How's your week been? It's been kind of a crazy weekend for me. A lot of shows, a lot of running around like a crazy man from like venue to venue, setting stuff up and tearing stuff down and then telling jokes and trying to be funny, also being like really sweaty. I feel like I was every bit as sweaty as I was funny this week. It's been a little bit hot, but a lot of it was just, sometimes comedy this doesn't feel like a job, and sometimes it feels like the hardest job. And that's been this weekend. Had fun, but man, really, really had to put in a lot of work this weekend. So, but here we are, and I wanted to put together something special for you guys today. We got Mother's Day coming up. Mother's Day is coming up in a few days from the point of this podcast release, and I wanted to put together. It's a show about dads, but we've had so many like great mom moments on this show from a bunch of different guests, and so I kind of curated a little clip show for you guys of some of my favorite mom moments, some of my favorite sad dad moms, and so it's like a Momtacular. I don't know. I was trying to think of a cool thing to like call this. And it's not all of them. There are like a bunch more great mom moments. These are just a few that came to my mind immediately. I did a whole episode with my mom, and she doesn't even appear on this thing. Not that I don't think she's a great mom. She's a nice mom. I like her. But I went for it. I went through, all my episodes and just looked for the ones that kind of like jumped out at me and found a few. And so that's what I have for you today. So, for this first clip, I wanted to go way back, all the way back to, episode 1 with Kyle Shire. Kyle Shire very generously agreed to be my first ever guest. He was a real guinea pig for me in a lot of ways, and he just jumped in, man. And it's a really fun episode. Looking back on it, I can see where I've really grown and developed as a host, because it was like all over the place. And there's this weird like through line through the episode where we talk about his mom at length, but never all at one time. She kind of comes up several times throughout the episode I did with Kyle. And so what I have for you is sort of like a supercut of our conversation and all the bits about his mom. And so you'll hear a little choppiness in the editing. It's not like a fluid take because we didn't talk about all of these things all at one time. So yeah, it's great. His mom, single mom, 3 kids, raising kids on her own. And well, you know what? I'm just going to have Kyle tell you about it himself. So here we go, guys. This is Kyle Shire all the way back in episode 1. Yeah, we talk about dads. Dads. And
where's my tissue?
I know. I'm gonna try not to cry. I'm a crier. And I was actually a little apprehensive about pitching the premise of doing an episode with it because I had heard you mention on Kyle Clark's podcast that your dad had passed away, and so I really appreciate you. You know, I mean, that could be a difficult thing to talk about.
No, I'm happy to talk about it. You know, it happened when I was so young that it's like, it's not necessarily like the act of him, not the act, but like the event of him dying wasn't like the saddest thing. It was like growing up with my mom and sisters after the fact, because it was like, it wasn't like that he was gone. It was like seeing that he was gone through them, which was what was scary the most.
Sure,
you know,
and watching their reaction to it.
To put it like in a completely cold context, and I don't mean to be this like, I don't know, emotionless about it, but like, you know, I was 3 when he died, like just about to turn 3, so like I have maybe 1 or 2 memories of him.
Sure.
So like, coldly speaking, like I didn't really know him,
right? You
know, like I know him through memories that my family has told me, and I know him through pictures, but like, you know, I don't have any of that.
Do you know, I mean, was there ever a point where your mom sat you down and was like, "This is who your dad was"? You know, I mean, do you know where he grew up and what his life was like?
Yeah, I knew. I knew that he grew up in Barrington. I knew that. I mean, I knew. It's hard because like my mom it's hard for her to talk about it at length, you know, because she's a very emotional person. She's a lot like me, and she, you know, rightfully so, gets kind of choked up when she talks about it at length. Yeah. You know, like my mom never remarried. She never dated anybody else. Like my dad was like basically her one, you know? And so I don't know, it was just a little bit weird ever trying to like figure stuff out. And then, you know, his family basically kind of disowned us after he passed away. And so I didn't really have that access to finding out a lot about him. My dad died when I was about 3, as I said. And shortly after, my mom just kind of had it with his family, and so she picked us up and moved us to Chicago, where her parents and brother were. She was a single mom raising 3 kids. She worked like at one time she was working like 3 jobs.
Oh my God.
You know, she was a home health nurse, she was an ER nurse, and she also was doing like fucking Mary Kay door-to-door shit.
Jesus,
yeah, making deals.
Doing it, man. Just
yeah. There were events that happened with my dad's family that I think really shook my mom's confidence in her identity as a mother. Right. And so I think that's why she like doubled down on being a super mom.
Sure.
And so I think that if we were to have gone to therapy, I think she was afraid that like the therapist would be like, "You're a bad mother," or like judge her or something. Like, I think that there is an element to that of why she was so resistant to the idea of therapy. And she admits now that like, if she were to do it again, she totally would have let us go to therapy. But like, you know, given the context of what she was going through, like, I understand why she didn't. I still think she should have, and I think she should be going. I honestly think everybody should be going to therapy. I think everyone should be seeing a therapist. We are all fucking insane. You know, yeah, I didn't grow up with a dad, but like, you know, my mom was between my mom and my uncle, like, you know, they really stepped up, and, you know, my mom had to be the mom and the dad in a lot of ways. And I, for all of the shortcomings and things that could have been better, like, I could not have been more lucky. And, you know, she was nothing but caring and supportive and lovely. And, you know, when I came out, she could not have been more supportive, or like she was just the best. Like, literally, it was like 10 minutes of shock, and then I swear to God, she put like a little rainbow pin on her lanyard at work. Aww. And was like immediately like, "Nope, this is me. I'm the mother of a gay son, and here I am." And
that's amazing.
Yeah, she's Wonder Woman. Like, she fucking hit it out of the park, and I love her to pieces. She's the best.
Oh, that's amazing, man. Yeah. That's so cool. Oh man, that was Kyle Shire talking about his mom. I still get like choked up listening to him talk about coming out to his mom like that and how sweet she was. I'm actually listening the way I edit these together. I'm actually listening to it with you guys, and so I don't know. Should I come up with like I don't want it to be confusing, like because this is 2019 Dave talking right now. You want me to like go by something different, you know? Because there's like past Dave and then there's this other Dave. Like should I like maybe I should have a cool name, you know? Like Viper, or like, I don't know, Trunks, no, Tank, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Anyway, cool. This next guest, next clip, excuse me, is one from a dear friend of mine. I did this episode a while back with her, Jen Felix. I mean, we get into some of her backstory in this clip, so you'll kind of get up to speed. But Jen's a very funny comedian, a dear friend of mine, and she didn't really know her dad. He split on her and her mom, and on top of that, her mom is mentally disabled, and so it's a great episode that we do all the way through. But she tells, I asked her for a momicdote. I normally ask for dadicdotes at the end of the show. Well, I asked her for a momicdote. And this is what she had to say, and it's kind of a cute, charming story, I thought. So here we go, guys. Jen Felix.
And I think maybe it came really from my grandma being mad at them, being mad at the family, my dad's family, and mad at my dad for letting it get to that point. There's no reason in the world those two people should have been having children.
Yeah, I guess that's another worthwhile question. I mean, yeah, what was... Like what they met and they got engaged. I mean, what was? Do you know much about that story?
I don't know a whole lot about it. I've seen a few pictures. I know that I have aunts and uncles that are like the same age as me.
Yeah, wow.
Because I know that he had like 10 or 15 brothers and sisters.
Whoa.
And they all lived in. This is kind of interesting. They lived in a really nice part of Canoga Park, and they had a really nice house, but it was a really nice like 2-bedroom house.
Yeah.
But they all lived in that house because his parents they wanted to, I guess, put up an image of that, you know, they had money and all of this, but they had all these people crammed into this house.
Wow.
And his mom was popping out kids at the same time as her kids were popping out kids.
Whoa.
So somewhere out there's a bunch of Felixes that I'm related to.
Yeah.
That
I don't think I realized Felix was like a Mexican last name.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
I guess I don't really know the origin of it. I mean, I always think of the cat usually.
Well, I've heard Felix is like a first name for Mexican men.
Okay.
Okay. Felix Gonzalez.
Okay, yeah.
I feel like there's a bunch of those guys out there.
I guess you're right about that. Have you and so, like did they have like your mom and dad, did they have like a full-blown wedding, or did they just was like a civil union type of thing?
No, my mom wore a wedding dress, and there were people there, and she had a baby shower. I've seen pictures of the baby shower,
and everybody was just kind of like, "Oh, this is good."
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't really I don't know. Like, I guess I never really asked about it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's probably a sore subject.
Sure.
But yeah, it seemed like it was a real.
Do you know how they met? Was it like your mom wasn't going to bars, was she? You know what I mean?
I have a story about that.
Oh,
actually, this should be my momicdote.
Okay,
let's
perfect.
scratch that last one. That put my family in kind of a bad light. So my mom and dad, I heard they met in school. So I think she was going to like a community college program, like an adult program.
Yeah.
And that's how they met. But that makes me think maybe he was kind of special too. I don't know.
Sure. So what was that movie from the 90s where the two special needs people?
I can't watch movies about people
there's one where they like fell in love. I'm sure it's very problematic in modern times, but because they were doing the whole you remember Tropic Thunder? It's like, oh, you went full retard. It was like these actors are both doing that. God, what was it? It's not Never Been Kissed. It's something.
Is that's not the one with Rosie O'Donnell, is it?
Oh
no, that's my other.
I forgot
sister.
Rosie O'Donnell has a foot. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the other sister.
Oh, that's
the
movie.
other sister. Yeah.
I can't watch those movies.
Yeah.
I get too upset. Like it hits me hard. Like it really bothers me seeing people that aren't like differently abled.
Sure.
That's such a
Yeah,
liberal phrase.
Sure. I mean, I get it though.
But yeah, it makes me real uncomfortable watching
'cause
people.
You're so close to it.
It's so, yeah.
And like these people are literally like doing a caricature of somebody that you love dearly.
Yeah.
You know? And
It's real uncomfortable
yeah,
for
so, I mean,
me.
I can understand.
But yeah, let me tell you a good mom anecdote. So my mom, have you met my mom?
No, I haven't. I've only heard wild stories.
She's been to a couple
Danny.
shows, and she's in love with Danny.
Yeah.
But she's a real spitfire, and she loves alcohol.
Oh,
She loves alcohol. Because of the medications that she's on, she's not supposed to have alcohol. And now she's not very mobile now, but there was a while where she could get around on her walker, and like I said before, she loved walking. So she lives in a little community for developmentally disabled people, and they have like helpers that hang out for a few hours, make them dinner. But for the most part, they were pretty independent. And so there's a bar real close to where my mom lives, and another thing she's obsessed with is her iPad.
okay.
And she does Facebook on her iPad. That's her big thing. And so one day, she had checked in at a bar from Facebook, and my family was like, "Wait, what?" And so they went to the bar, and it was like days later. They went to the bar, and they were like, "Hey, have you seen this woman?" They're like, "Oh yeah, Mary. She's in here all the time. She comes in with her walker and gets 2 Mai Tais and then goes home." So
That's so funny.
my mom is sneaky as fuck.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to believe, because you're saying that she already has bad balance. I want to believe that she has like a drinking helmet. Like
We should get one for Danny.
Hey guys, it's Viper. That sounded weird, huh? Viper. Okay. I'm gonna be 2019 Dave. That's who I am. But some of these are also 2019 Dave. Shit. All right, I'll come up with something different. How cute was that story though? Sorry. Jen Felix, guys. She's great. I adore that story. Let's keep it moving along here. This next story is the guest. His name was Anthony K. I'm gonna probably get his last name wrong. He doesn't even Krayenhagen, I believe is how it's pronounced. He just goes by Anthony K. And Anthony came on. He and I did a great episode together. I forget what number it was, but scroll through the episode list and give his a listen. Give them all a listen. They're all great people. But let one thing be known: Anthony K is a man who loves his mother, and this is a story about how much he loves his mom. God bless him. Here we go, guys. Here's Anthony K.
Well, I mean, I told you the story about my first time doing comedy.
I think this is actually a really funny story. We talked about it off mic, but it's a great story.
And I didn't tell you the part where me and her talked afterward, me and my mom.
Sure,
so I guess I can throw that in.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So the first time I ever did stand up was at that bar, Heroes, in Modesto.
Yeah.
And my mom came to the show, and I had like 30 or 35 friends that came. They're all from my neighborhood, and like they just thought it was crazy that I was gonna go on a mic and talk. They were like, "Yo, we're coming to support you, dog. Like this is all crazy." So I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I mean, we're just kids, you know. We're all getting all fucked up, and we're generally just house party people who got in a lot of fights, and just we were assholes, we were douches, you know."
Yeah.
And so they all came to the show. My mom came and whatever. I think my stepdad there? I don't remember now. I gotta ask him if he was there or not. But either way, there was a woman there who was heckling, and she was just heckling one of the other comics. I'd already gotten off. My performance went, all right, whatever. I was happy.
Yeah.
But there was a comic named Jason Wrestler on stage.
Yes.
Yeah, Road Dogg. Love that dude. And so he was on stage, and this lady just was drunk the whole night. She was yelling out, but she got really bad with him. And she, at one point, literally answered her phone and was like, "Yeah, well, I'm at this comedy show." And it was just the worst. And her man is not telling her to stop. Nobody's saying anything. My friend was sitting behind her, and he goes, "Hey, oh yeah, I left some parts. I left some parts out that were pretty amazing." He goes, "Shut up," right? And she turns around and she goes, "What?" And he goes, "You heard me, cunt."
Jeez.
Nothing gets a woman more happy than being yelled.
yelled
Cunt. And as she was about to stand up, to do this, yeah, I don't know why I left this out, but my best friend, it's amazing. He's a college professor now.
Oh,
my best friend stood up very quickly. He had a milkshake, and he poured it on her head. And she looked like Carrie, but with like chocolate all over. And she was mortified. She couldn't believe that happened. But when that happened, everybody stood up very quickly. I mean, and then I think that table realized how many people were with me.
Yeah.
Because everybody stood up in the middle. I mean, there were so many of us.
That's so
funny. So now everybody's yelling at each other. My friend at the time, she was yelling at the girl like, well, what's up? Like gonna fight her. And this girl's like, fuck you, motherfucker. Like yelling. The guy's like, whoa, like trying to protect her. But he knows his girl's in the wrong. You know what I mean? She's being a piece of shit the whole time. But you got to defend your girl's honor. I get it.
Yeah.
And she's yelling, and she's yelling. Now she's yelling at my friend that they're gonna fight. So I'm like, oh, well, let them fight because my friend will beat the shit out of this bitch. Like, fuck her. And my mom, and then obviously the staff is going crazy. People are trying to separate it. Well, my mom's standing in between the girl and my friend, and the girl's standing up. They're sitting inside of a booth in the restaurant, and she's standing on top of the chair there, the bench, and as my mom turns away from her to look at my friend, the girl takes a swing at my mom, like a sucker punch, and swings, and she fucking connects with my on the neck.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And up until this point, I had never seen a stranger hit my mom in my whole life. Like, I've seen her fight her sisters and shit, like my aunts. I'm like, that's normal. You just pull them off and you go, fucking relax.
We're just having a barbecue.
Let's go back to this barbecue. Yeah, let's everyone relax, you know? But I never seen a stranger do that to my mom ever in my whole life. And I fucking I've seen red, you know what I mean? I ran across and I punched this lady dead in her mouth. I punched her so fucking hard. And she fucking fell into the booth. The guy obviously tried to get all crazy. My friends ran up on him, choked him out, beat him up. Fucking the girl, my friend, she ran around the booth, snatched this girl up by her hair, started punching her. While this was all going on, my friends started throwing plates of food and drinks at the girl while she's being beat up by my friend.
Yeah.
Now my mom's from the hood. Like, she's wild. She's trying to be the peacemaker. She's all grown up now. She thinks she's supposed to be an adult.
Yeah.
But I see my mom flip in that moment when she got hit by a stranger. Like, her oldness came out. Her old ways. She fucking grabbed a fork. She tried to stab this bitch. She grabbed a fork and she ran over and she was like trying to fight through the crowd to get to her and shit. And she ended up actually, my ex-girlfriend at the time, her brother was there, and my mom accidentally stabbed him in the leg trying to like get by with a fork. I mean, didn't like puncture him, but like stabbed him in the leg and like hurt him. And she couldn't get to the girl because everybody was crowded, and my friend was already beating this bitch up. Everybody was like, "Stop, Tammy! Like, don't worry about it. We got this." And my mom, so what my mom did, she grabbed the girl's purse. The purse was like on the table or something. She snatched the purse up in the midst of all this, and so my mom's big move was just emptying it out on the ground. Like, just fucking up her purse, I guess. I don't know.
Stepping on her
because we were already dealing with it. Yeah, I was like, but my mom fucking like buried it all out, like on the ground, and then we just like ran at it. Oh yeah, one of the managers grabbed me. One of the guys, like, he's a big ass guy. He came up and like grabbed me from, like, tried to like hold me there. And I was like, get the fuck off me! And my friends ran up on the manager guy too, and they're like, fucking let him go. They're like, we're gonna, you know what I mean? We're gonna start fucking you up too. And the guy manager was like, all right, I don't want any part of this. And like he let us go, and we all just like left very quickly. This whole huge mess and scene, you know. And me and my mom like jumped in at the time. She had a Tahoe. We like jumped in the Tahoe together. This is me and my mother. We jump in the Tahoe together, like one of my cousins. We jump in like we just robbed a bank. My mom's fucking energy's going. I'm all pissed. I'm furious at what's going on. We jump in the car. My friends are running to their cars and shit. And my mom's like, "Oh fuck!" And like she's like, "We gotta go!" And like before the cops get here, fucking reverses. We fucking go. We start smashing back home. My mom's like, "Oh my god, I feel young again." You know, like I feel like a kid. And I was like, "Oh my god, this is so awful." And my mom had always told me growing up, like, you never ever put your hands on a woman. You don't do that. That's suck it. Like, you're a pussy. If you ever do that as a man, you're a bitch. No excuses. But she never told me. And even she to this day is like, nah, you were right. Because it's like, I never thought of, I don't care if it would have been a woman or a man. I don't care who it was who hit my mom. You know?
Punch my mom.
You don't hit my mom. Definitely, if I'm going to be there, even if I'm not there, I'm going to find out. And I'm going to come to where you are.
Anthony K, everybody. It's a fun one. I have another Anthony for you guys too. Anthony Desamito. I have a clip here. This clip. Okay, a few things about this clip. One, it's a little bit of a stretch on my mom premise. She is involved and she plays a key part in this story. I will say 2 things about this clip. It's probably the darkest story that's ever been told on my podcast. I can't think of one any darker than this. I mean, there's something that come close. I find Kelsey Lane's episode, the story about her tracing on her dad's zigzag rolls, was pretty dark, but for a totally different reason. I think this is hands down the number 1 darkest story ever told, but it's also the hardest I've ever laughed on the Sad Dad podcast. I've laughed really fucking hard. I've had so many guests just slay me, but nothing, I can't think of anything else that comes as close as this clip does. So here we go, guys. This is Anthony Desamito. He's talking about his mom and a little about his stepdad too. So for you, I'm always curious about this because I've had other guests on that have lost their dads real early on, and one of the things that I'm always curious about in that type of situation is like growing up, without sort of without a father figure necessarily. I mean, where is it that you turn when you're looking for like that male role model? I mean, what did you find yourself doing, or did you have one at all?
Well, I didn't. I don't know. It was when you have a matriarch, it's like she's your dad. You know?
Right.
And so, like after I had my uncle and I had, but he was also on drugs, so I didn't see him very often.
Sure.
And so when we really didn't have a lot of dad figures growing up until we moved to the U.S. and my mom was trying to find us a dad. Husband papers,
right?
The trifecta, and it would be just like these terrible white dudes. Just like one of them was like this meth head with teeth problems, and she didn't know he was a meth head, and and then one of them was like this crazy alcoholic dude that would like drink a handle of vodka in the shed.
Oh, jeez.
And like come out like in a Speedo and like walk into their house and be like, fuck you, like to call me a fat piece of shit. I was like seventh grade at the time.
Yeah.
And then be like, let's go fuck to my mom. And he was like gay. Because like when I was like at that age, 7th grade, I was like trying to find gay porn in his computer, and he beat me to it. Like I typed in G, and it was like, whoa.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, so he had this secret,
Yeah.
And so that's why he was drinking so much, I think, and probably other stuff.
Yeah.
And he ended up like shooting himself in the head.
Jesus.
I was like sleeping in like, it was like a double wide like this, and so like imagine like I'm probably sleeping. Probably like I'm sleeping over here, and then he shoots himself in the head, like right there.
In the room right next to
It was a room right next. Yeah, and I didn't hear it at all.
Oh, you slept through it?
I slept through it. I'm a heavy sleeper.
Whoa.
Unless I had a really important Pokemon tournament the next day, because I did not want to wake up. And there was like a pink, like, that old school brown carpet. It was like I guess blood turns into pink after on old 70s brown carpet.
Wild.
Because there was like this pink spot on the ground forever that my mom moved her bed over, but not completely. And I was like, why is there a pink spot on the ground? And she was like, oh, I spilled Kool-Aid.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's how Mexicans say it, Kool-Aid.
That's, there's a weird metaphor there.
Yeah.
With it turning pink, because that's... If he was a closeted gay,
Yeah.
It's kind of fun.
It turns into a dick. The shape of a cock.
Just a big pink cock.
Whoa.
On the, whoa.
His legacy.
It's just fucking blood dicks,
going
bro.
into like an ass. Like 2 bloody sections.
Oh, fuck. That's so funny. Hey, Mom, why do you have this super vulgar mural on the carpet?
That's how he died. That's how gays bleed.
God damn it. Anthony Desamito. That fucking story kills me every goddamn time. Oh boy, I told you it's dark, but it's funny. Yeah, that is funny stuff. Oh shit. We'll lighten it up a little bit. I got a really kind of cute story here from my guest Chree Powell. Actually, she tells 2 stories, I believe, here, and so yeah, Chree is out of the Santa Cruz scene. Very funny comedian. And we got pretty heavy. She was another comic that didn't know her dad all that well. He was kind of in and out of her life. So her mom plays a huge role in her life and in her episode. So I had a couple of momicdotes here from you from Chree Powell. Here we go, guys.
The fun one is so my dad had taken my brother fishing. And so I wanted to go fishing. And I still, for some reason, even though I know that I don't like fishing, I still like have the urge to go fishing.
Yeah.
But it's so fucking boring. Like it
really
to
is
me,
overrated.
I can't handle it. But I wanted to go fishing. So my mom was like, all right, we'll go fishing. We went to Tahoe. And then we were leaving, like we had packed up. We were leaving Tahoe. We were like driving back over the mountains to go back to Petaluma. And I was like, I wanted to catch a fish. I wanted to catch a fish. And I was like really like being a fucking brat about it.
Yeah.
And we were just driving along and my mom like sees this sign that's like trout farm. And it's like, you know, guaranteed catch or whatever. And she's like, fine. So she like pulls over. We go to this trout farm. And it's just like a swimming pool full of starving fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sad.
And yeah, I mean, they're fucking fish, but yeah. I mean, I don't care. Like I'm just gonna go there to kill them. So I don't know if I should be super sad. Yeah. So we go over there and she pays whatever she has to pay. All of our stuff is in the car. We're leaving Tahoe. We stop so that I can catch a fish. And so we get the fishing pole. They give us like manure or something to like put on the end because they're like, these fish are fucking hungry. Like they'll eat whatever, just throw it in there. But they were eating it off. So then I had to go back and they were like, the dude like took a handful of worms and chopped them in half and then just gave me this cup full of half worms. It was like, why did you cut me out? So I had more tries.
Yeah.
And so my mom's like, all right, you have to put the worm on the hook. And I was like, I couldn't do it. Like I could touch a worm, but I couldn't put it on the hook. That just seemed mean or whatever. And so then my mom put the worm on the hook and she was like, okay, like throw it in the thing. So then I cast it into the swimming pool and then, you know, immediately gets a bite. And then I'm trying to pull it up and I couldn't pull it up by myself because I was a little child. So my mom has to like take it from me and pull it up, throw it on the ground. And then they had handed me a pipe and they were like, when you pull the fish out, you hit it with this pipe to like knock it out or whatever, or to kill it. And they had handed me, and so my mom was like, all right, hit the, she was like, you're the one that's fishing, hit the fish with the pipe. And I was like, tapped it, and I was like, I can't. So then my mom hits the fish with the pipe. And she did all the fucking work. Yeah, she did all the work. So I caught my first fish. Yeah. I got the picture where I'm holding up this rainbow trout.
I'm just sweating.
And that's what a fucking woman has to do when a man doesn't do his fucking job.
That's a great story. Your mom sounds right. How old were you at that time?
I was like probably 7 or something.
Yeah. It's a cute age.
Yeah. And amazing. Yeah, and then she made me eat it. Yeah. Which she also there was no room in the car, so it was in my lap in a bag of ice. For the whole drive, which is a 4-hour drive.
Just 4-hour drive. Looking at you that entire time.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And then she made fritters, and those were good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because she was like, oh yeah, like my kids aren't going to eat fish. They don't actually ever eat fish, so they're not going to want to eat this unless I deep fry it.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good story.
Yeah.
You said you had another fun momicdode moment?
Yeah, Mom and I went to North Carolina when I was 18, and we were there for 5 days, and when we came back, my mom had a Southern accent for like a year. She just picked it up the second we landed, and she's from Petaluma. She was just like, I'm a country girl. And I was like, yeah, but you're like in Bodega Bay, like Northern California. You're fancy country. You're not this country. Like
that boogie board gave me the vapors. That's so funny. Just you reminded me of a story because I grew up pretty religious. Like my parents were like they would go to these like evangelical churches when I was younger, and my mom was always listening to like worship music, but like contemporary worship music. And I don't know if you've ever experienced all of that, but like every church plays like the same like catalog of like these contemporary like acoustic alternative worship songs. And my mom would listen to these CDs, but like she would also get, and they were all the same fucking songs, you know, and like the same songs she heard on Sundays, the same songs she listened to in the CD in the car. But then she would buy CDs like live, like worship live from England, and there's some church, and it's the same fucking songs, and they're just sung in a different country using the same language, and like
it's like Christmas music. It's like, why are there more than one?
And she had like the live from Belfast and the live from any and every like European country you can imagine.
Damn.
So, cut to where there's this big like church conference that like happening in Bogota, Colombia, and they drag me to it. They drag my brother and I to it, and my brother
went to Colombia as a child.
Yes,
that's
when I was. I mean,
not where you bring.
I mean, I was
children.
I was probably 15, and so my brother and I are there, and we're like, this is kind of cool. Like we're kind of in South America, and this is kind of a cool country, but at the same time. It was like for this really weird churchy thing and this crazy evangelical churchy thing conference. And so, but the whole time my mom is there and we're meeting, it's an international conference. So we're meeting people from all over the world, and every fucking person from a different country that would walk up, my mom would be like, I've always wanted to worship with the Irish. You guys have the best worship music. And then she'd be like, I've always wanted to worship with the English. Like, we're like, Mom.
What a snake.
She's like, I just love it. And it's all the same fucking CD.
I've always wanted to worship with you.
Yeah, I've always wanted to. It's just a thing. Like, I just love the way you guys worship.
It's like how a comic's like, I want to do a black room.
Yeah.
And you're like, you should not.
No. No. And it's like, just every goddamn person that came up, she was like, I've always wanted to worship with the fucking Hungarians. I don't know. Oh, it's silly. Oh, Chree.
Hungarians, that's probably an intense worship.
That Eastern Bloc worship.
Yeah.
Little mom anecdote from me there too. Cool guys, we're gonna close this show out with one of only two moms I've ever had on the show. One of those moms was my mom. The other mom was a very funny comedian named Dana Turner, and this is actually some stories about Dana being a mom, which is like I said, something we don't get a lot on this show. And Dana's so funny, so charming, and I thought she would be a great way to close this bad boy out. So without further ado, here we go, guys. Dana Turner.
And so we were enjoying that for quite a while. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I like that. And then you have twin boys.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
What's being a mom like? I mean, I know that's a big question, but
I think it's great. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of fucking work, and I there's a lot of girls that we were talking about this recently at DeChico's with some other female comedians who are getting shit from their families about not having kids.
Sure.
But I praise them that I meet a lot of fucked up women who should not be having kids, and you have to realize you're creating another human. It's kind of like a weird social experiment, you know? And you want to make awesome people.
Yeah, right.
You know, and so there's a lot of responsibility that comes out along with feeding them and fucking clothing them. You can't just sprinkle some Cheerios on the floor and lock the door,
This was
not like a cat.
I'd love to get your take on this, but it was something I was thinking about, and I actually talked about it on the podcast last week in the intro. But I feel like I know these like amazing, strong women, and many of them don't want to be moms, which is fine. But I also feel at the
smart if you know that's who you are.
Well, well, at the same time too, I also feel like that those are exactly the types of moms we need right now.
Oh yeah. because they can handle shit.
Right, like I feel like we're left with the lowest common denominator for moms, and
oops, I got pregnant. Mom.
Yeah, exactly. And so I mean, to me, it's just more of a sad irony than it is anything.
Especially, what we're facing politically. If we want to go there,
right? I'm not trying.
Yeah, no, we're not going there.
I'm not trying to peer pressure any women who don't want children into having children, but I also acknowledge that it's like, man, you're exactly the type of mom the world needs. Like, but
you could birth the resistance.
Exactly. Right. 100%. So anyway.
It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun because you get to like relive your childhood stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Legos and swings. And,
decorating for Christmas and all of that stuff. Yeah, that's great. Do you, I guess I'll ask you this question. I mean, you talk a lot about it in your act, but normally at the end of the show, I ask for like a dadictote. People like it's a fond memory of their dad. But do you have any first person like momicdotes? Like is there any moment that really just stands out to you in all your motherhood time that is just a really, really fun, funny, happy memory?
God, there's so many. You just sprung that up.
I know, I did. We can circle back around to it too.
Fun and funny. They're all just. My boys have a really great sense of humor. So, I mean, there's been times we've all three just been rolled out laughing, gut grabbing laughing, So there's been a lot of those memories.
Yeah. Your boys are interesting dudes.
Yeah.
I've met them before.
Yeah.
They like my pizza joke. And that, to me, makes them the greatest boys on earth.
And Jake, I just want you to know, for probably 3 weeks after he watched your set, was walking around the house, everything was, Jesus. Jesus. I mean, I can't even do it as good. He just had you down,
That's so funny. I love that. Yeah. You told me a story because you one of your boys is straight and the other's gay. The twin boys. You told me a really funny story about your which is the gay one?
Ethan's the gay one.
Ethan's the gay one. The straight one. About going to the store and they both got a treat. They both got to buy something.
Yeah. So and Jake, he's smart too, but he wanted a toy. They were 8. He wanted a toy, And so I said, yeah, buddy, you can pick out a toy. And then it was about $15. And you got to be fair when you got more than one kid. You always have to be fair. And so I told Ethan, that, hey, buddy, you've got about $15 to spend. Pick out a toy. And he wanders the aisles for a while, and he looks up and he goes, does it have to be a toy, Mom? I said, no, bud, you got $15, And he goes, well, can we go over to the stationery aisle? Sure, okay. I'm thinking, he's going to get some art supplies, maybe, And he goes over and he picks it up, and it's an agenda. And he spends the whole ride home scribing phone numbers and contacts into his agenda that I rattled off to him at 8 years old. They used to play corporation.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. That's so funny. They're just planning hirings and firings.
Yes, they have employee manuals typed up. They took everything very seriously.
The best part was, didn't they submit them to you for review?
I had to check for typos and legalities. Did it sound all right? I'm telling you, there were PowerPoint presentations. I'm not lying.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
And now they're both off to be engineers.
Yeah. And they still, they used to talk about, having this corporation together, Turner Industries, And then there was also the movie studio, Gemini Studios, Yeah. Studio Gemini. Sorry.
Studio Gemini was the name of their movie.
Twins.
And they also were really obsessed with a pizza place?
At 5, they got this idea that wouldn't it be cool if we lived over a pizza place that we owned, right? And so it was their dream to find this building that we could, and we got into it, and I got into it just being a mom, because I think, Mom and Doak, one of our favorite times was just road trips and just laughing and talking and stuff, And we would do this on out on the road, even running errands, We were and this is what our pizza place is going to be.
Yeah.
And so every time they got money, they were like, no, Mom, I can't go buy a toy or whatever. This is for the pizza parlor. And they were, at first it was cute. And then a year into every Christmas card and birthday card, this is for the pizza parlor, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm
I just have to imagine that moment for you when like it goes from like this funny, cute little thing my boys are talking about to like, oh fuck, they are serious about this pizza thing, and like
I said yes to this. It's my future.
Yeah.
Because your kids all the time like, and you play a lot.
Yeah.
No, they were taking notes.
Dead serious. That's so funny. Did they just grow out of the pizza party parlor thing?
In a life reality.
Yeah, that's funny.
So they still kind of talk about corporation together.
Sure.
But, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's great.
Dana Turner, everybody. Oh, man, she's so funny. God damn it. She's actually headlining our Mother's Day show. So if you're in the greater Fresno Clovis area, come out to Grog's on Sunday, May 12th. And you can see Dana headline. Shameless promotion there. Cool. That has been it. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. You guys are the best. I had a lot of fun putting this clip show together. Just kind of like it was a lot of work, but it was just kind of a nice trip down memory lane. I've had so many amazing guests on this show, and the fact that everybody's been so cool. Like every single one of my guests, I can maybe think of like a couple that were really kind of like hard interviews, but for the most part, everybody is just so cool, so open, and they've done a lot to make this show really special. And so have you guys listening in. So thank you so much. That's the Mother's Day Momtacular. Maybe that's what I'll call it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Rate and review on iTunes if you can. I'd love you forever. I'll read your iTunes review out loud on the air. I forgot to check to see if there are any new iTunes reviews. I'll do that now while I tell you about Sad Dad Patreon. If you want to help support the show, help me out with some of the hosting fees that I have to pay each month to get this thing posted for you guys, I'd love you forever. I'd love you no matter what. And then haven't heard back from you guys on the Sad Dad coffee mugs. Maybe what I'll do, if I'll post a picture of it. If you go to Facebook, the Sad Dad Facebook page, I'll post a picture of it. You guys can see it because I don't think I did a good job of selling you guys on it. I did a little mock-up of it, what it would look like, and you guys can take a look at it. Tell me what you think. If you like it, I am more than happy to make up a bunch of them, and then we can and then we'll have merch. We can have merch, guys. It'll be great. It'll be like a real thing. Us, you, me, everybody. We're all Sad Dadderinos. So you can follow me on social media at Dave Apkarian on all the platforms. Follow my Twitter. I really like my Twitter right now because nobody pays attention to it, and it's like kind of like the purest form of me. Like I don't have to worry about like my mom like getting on there and being like, or like my mom's friends or like it's nice, and there's no middle-aged white men like coming in with their dumb hot takes. It's like, oh, you're not funny. The baby boomer generation, somebody lied to them and told them that they were funny, and there are funny baby boomers. I don't know what I'm talking about, but most 60-year-old white men are just not that funny. Let's just be real. And they're all over social media. They want to comment on all your shit. Yeah, there's a hot take. It's not. Anyway, cool guys. That's been it. I'll be out of town this week. I'll be down in Southern California doing some shows. I'll be at the Madhouse Comedy Club. I might stop and do a couple spots in LA on my way back up. Otherwise, you can catch me 6 nights a week here performing in the greater Fresno Clovis area, Monday, Tuesday, every night but Thursday. And you can follow me on social media and see where I'm going up if you want to come see some comedy, some goddamn comedy. So cool guys. Once again, happy Mother's Day. That's been our show. Adios.